Have you ever wondered, could the new Avengers outbest the original Avengers? Or would they absolutely destroy the new team? Let's compare. Steve Rogers was once a scrawny boy from Brooklyn, but what he lacked in muscles, he made up for with his heroic attitude. It wasn't until he volunteered for experimental enhancement that his power matched his indomitable will. Captain America is a super soldier. He possesses superhuman strength, speed, stamina, and reflexes. His body is basically in peak condition, so he never gets tired, and he has an incredibly fast mental reaction. The Super Soldier Serum gave Steve all these amazing abilities, but he also put in the work. He's a master strategist and combatant, an incredible martial artist, and the best shield fighter in Marvel. This means he can fight for days, while also doing it masterfully. If anything, Cap's only true weakness is his lack of a superhuman healing factor, since his healing factor isn't super powerful, and he isn't bulletproof. He could die if he doesn't manage to stop a bullet with his shield. The thing here is that he's likely faster than a gunshot. Tony Stark doesn't have any innate superpowers beyond the fact that he's a super genius, but don't worry, he doesn't need them. He's a master engineer. It all began when he was kidnapped by terrorists, forced to implant a pacemaker-like device on his own body. The gadget on his heart was only the beginning. He also created a suit of armor full of all kinds of weapons. Once he was out of the terrorist's claws, he became Iron Man. On top of fighting crime, Tony devoted himself to making his suit more and more amazing with each update. The MCU Iron Man has 51 different armors. Besides, Tony is an incredible tactician and a dedicated combatant. So not only are his armor suits more and more dangerous every time, but he has the intelligence to use all their abilities the best way possible on the battlefield. Iron Man's biggest weakness would be a lack of armor overall. If an enemy manages to destroy it or even finds a way to depower it, Tony would be hopeless against their powers. Of course, the smart hero has thought about this, so his suit isn't as simple to turn off. Good luck finding a way to do it. There was a time when Bruce Banner was just a mild-mannered, 7-times PhD physicist, but things changed for him when he was exposed to this radiation during a lab accident. Following this, Banner gained the ability to transform into the Hulk, a green colossus with little intelligence and tons of violent instincts. Every time he gets mad, or his heart goes over 200 beats per minute. In the beginning, the Hulk would take over Bruce without any obstacle, wreaking havoc on his path. It took Banner a while to control this transformation, but once he managed, he was able to use his super strength to fight crime. Thanks to his incredible strength, the Hulk can carry up to 100 tons, leap great distances and heights, and his skin is bulletproof. Of course, since Banner can't fully control him, sometimes Hulk does more damage than good. That is definitely his biggest weakness. This wouldn't happen if the genius Banner were in control. This is why Banner sought to find a way to have the best of both of them through gamma experimentation. He managed to keep Hulk's body with his mind. This version of Hulk is slightly less powerful, but he's way more manageable, which makes him a formidable opponent. Thor Odinson is a literal god. He's the Asgardian god of thunder, son of the All-Father Odin, and brother to the god of mischief Loki. Thor has a perfect physiology. His muscles and bones are more dense than average. All this also makes him super agile, and ensures he doesn't tire as often as a normal person. Of course, since he isn't human, he is immune to any kind of earth illness. And even if someone manages to hurt him, Thor has a quick healing factor. Finally, he can fly. Besides being Asgardian, Thor is the god of thunder. This means he was born with the ability to create and control electricity, and he can also command storms. If this wasn't enough, Thor has Mjolnir, his enchanted hammer. This incredible weapon allows Thor to focus his abilities, and it also amplifies them. Mjolnir only obeys him in an almost sentient way. Since it's made out of Uru, an incredibly strong metal, it absolutely packs a punch. All this, combined with Thor's centuries-old experience on the battlefield, makes him an almost impossible adversary. Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, is considered one of the best spies in the whole world. But this wasn't exactly her choice. When she was only a girl, she was purchased by the Red Room, and then trained to become an amazing assassin for Russia. The Red Room stole Natasha's childhood, instead forcing her to go through a grueling training that turned her into a lethal combatant. That's right, contrary to some of her peers, Natasha is just a human. She just happens to be an exceptional one. Among the many abilities Black Widow got during her training, there's her martial arts mastery. She's proficient in pretty much anything you can think of. She's also amazing using the staff. This is her primary weapon when it comes to melee combat. Of course, she's also an expert marksman who can handle any kind of gun. Finally, she's an Olympic-level gymnast. This ability is what makes her stand out in battle, since she combines it with her mastery of different fighting styles. Overall, Natasha can hold her ground easily in battle, even against multiple enemies. Her only weakness is that she's human, so her overall resistance is inferior to her peers, even if it's great considering the human average. Considering that he works alongside a literal god and a superhuman, you may be tempted to think Clint isn't fit for the Avengers. But you would be wrong. Since he was only a kid, Clint Barton developed an incredible talent for marksmanship that he perfected more and more each day. When he was only a kid, he realized a game at the fair was rigged because he missed. That's how confident he always was on his shots. He wasn't invited to join S.H.I.E.L.D. out of pity. He was a true asset to this organization during his time there. This isn't only thanks to his expert marksmanship, but his many other abilities. Besides being an ace with the bow, Hawkeye is an incredible martial artist who combines Muay Thai, karate, and Kenjutsu. He's so good at one-on-one fighting, he actually held his ground with Black Widow half a dozen times they fought each other, including the sad moment in which they tried to decide who would sacrifice their soul at Vormir. Anyone who underestimates Hawkeye is also forgetting his time as Ronin. During his short run as a vigilante, Clint abandoned the bow for the sword, showing absolute mastery over this weapon too. If this wasn't enough, Hawkeye is also an incredible tactician, and he's a great engineer. He creates his own trick arrows. In the end, Clint's only weakness is the same as Natasha's and Tony's. They're just humans, even if they're better than most people at what they do. Now let's take a look at the new Avengers introduced in the Thunderbolts film. James Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, was a World War II soldier fighting alongside Captain America when he went missing in action. Everyone thought he had died, but he had been kidnapped by Hydra. This villainous organization injected him with their super soldier serum and brainwashed him so he would become their assassin. It took everything in Captain America's power to bring him back from that dark place, but Bucky became his best ally once this happened. Thanks to his training in the army as well as the super soldier serum, Bucky became an incredibly powerful hero. His career as a soldier made him a great tactician and strategist, as well as an expert marksman and martial artist. Additionally, Bucky lost an army during his time with Hydra, and it was replaced by a cybernetic limb. If Bucky was already super strong, the arm added him to the strongest heroes in the MCU ever. Like Cap and any other super soldier, Bucky can be killed, but it wouldn't be an easy feat. Like Natasha Romanoff, Yelena Belova was surrendered to the Red Room when she was only a child. Here, she was trained to become a spy under the cruelest teachers ever. This experience scarred her for life, but it also gave her incredible abilities. For instance, her mastery of several martial arts. The original Black Widow leans on her acrobatic skills a lot, while Yelena is more direct, taking as many hits as she strikes them while also using chokes, locks, and even throwing herself against her enemies. Think a dangerous ballerina versus a sambo fighter. She uses knives as her main weapon during hand-to-hand combat, so it's difficult to strike her without risking a deep cut. Although Yelena is only human, she's still incredibly hard to take down, so her only weakness is barely that. Just like America had Steve Rogers, the Soviet Union had Alexei Shostakov, known by his superhero name Red Guardian. Shostakov was Russia's first super soldier after he was given the Soviet super soldier serum during the Cold War. This incredible substance enhanced his body and mind, granting him the full super soldier package. Incredible strength, durability, reflexes, stamina, and speed, as well as a powerful healing factor and full immunity to most known illnesses. Of course, Shostakov was already an amazing soldier to begin with, so all these abilities only made him even better since they combined with his former skills. John Walker, aka US Agent, is one of the most recent super soldiers created in the MCU. Originally captain of the US 75th Ranger Regiment, he was chosen to succeed Steve Rogers as Captain America. Worried about not living up to Steve's legacy, Walker took the serum, but his desperation only led him to a path of rage that ruined his career. After killing one of the Flag Smashers, he lost the shield. We know the serum didn't make US Agent a better man, but it definitely made him a better fighter, since it enhanced his abilities. Not only did Walker become stronger and faster, but he got a great healing factor, amazing reflexes and stamina that allows him to fight for hours without getting tired. He was already an expert combatant and tactician, as well as a master with all kinds of weapons, so the serum only made him an even more dangerous man. When Ava Starr was only a kid, she was exposed to the explosion of a quantum tunnel created by her father, Elias. This accident altered her molecular structure, causing it to become unstable, which made her intangible and often invisible. Ava's molecular instability made her very ill, keeping her close and training her, only to turn her into an assassin. Fortunately for her, eventually, Janet Van Dyne was eventually able to stabilize her using quantum energy from the quantum realm. Now stable, Ava got the best possible outcome from her accident. She got superpowers without a debilitating illness. Ava mastered the skill to turn her intangibility and invisibility on and off by command. Besides, she got faster, stronger, and more agile. Nothing like a super soldier, of course, but enough that she can stand her ground in battle with no problem. Contrary to a great chunk of her peers, Ghost doesn't have a healing factor. This means she's still susceptible to poison, illness, or even a gunshot. Although she's hard to catch, she wouldn't be hard to kill if caught. Valentina wasn't lying when she said the Sentry is stronger than all of the Avengers rolled into one. Thunderbolts only shows him in a couple of minutes, but it's enough to show us just how powerful he is. I bet you hadn't considered this, but the Sentry qualifies as a super soldier. He was given a super soldier serum-like substance that granted him all these abilities. The main difference is that he's way more powerful. The Sentry has the super speed, stamina, and strength of any super soldier. He also has psionic abilities. He can move things with his mind, create force fields, and even manipulate matter. He's also a telepath and has an incredible healing factor. He can control light and darkness. This is how the Void gets his super creepy looks. With basically no weakness, the Sentry ranks among the most powerful MCU characters. It's a shame that Bob chooses not to fight because he would be the most powerful member of the new Avengers. Both the original Avengers and the new Avengers are incredibly powerful, but if they were to face off, only one team would come out victorious. And it's safe to say that it would be the original six. The new Avengers are all trained in combat, and they're experts in their specific skills, but the original Avengers have a literal god among them. Thor alone could fry the new Avengers in seconds with a bolt of lightning. Hulk can take gigantic leaps, and Iron Man can shoot missiles. It's safe to say this battle wouldn't last much on the ground with these three, so the new Avengers would be crushed. This is of course unless Sentry joins. The only way the new Avengers could have a chance to take down the original team would be if Bob let go of his fears and used his superpowers, because then he could neutralize Thor, allowing the rest of the team a fair fight. Yelena and Natasha can go hand in hand. We've seen it before. They have the same training, so they understand each other in battle, which allows them to dodge and punch at the right moment. Bucky and Steve are pretty much in the same place. Cap's got the best serum out there, but Bucky has a cybernetic arm, so they're in the same place. The fight between Iron Man and US Agent would probably emulate Civil War. Shield versus missiles all the way. And Ghost's abilities would come in handy to avoid Hawkeye's arrows, but for how long? We know Clint is an expert marksman. Finally, Red Guardian may not be as big as the Hulk, but he's still as strong as they come, as well as agile enough to escape the Green Giant. Now, all this doesn't necessarily mean Thor would lose against the Sentry. As of now, the Asgardian has way more experience in battle than the mild-mannered Bob. However, the Sentry may not need this, instead compensating with his sheer power. In the comics, the Sentry even possesses something called retroactive immortality, which means he can't die. He will always come back. This is exactly what happened in the film. After the failsafe, he simply returned to life. If this is the case, then the new Avengers are on their way to have the single most powerful superhero in the MCU ever. Maybe not even Thor, a superhero with virtually no weaknesses, could take him down. The only way I think it's even remotely possible for this new Avengers team to stand a chance is if Bob Reynolds' alternate form, the Void, was a part of this fight. Bob first got his powers after taking a form of the super soldier serum. Bob thought he found a drug to feed his addiction, but instead ended up with his Sentry powers, but also an unstoppable dark side called the Void. If the Void was to show, then not even Thor would be able to stop him. Although Thor was able to defeat the Void in the comics, it took more than his lightning and just the Avengers to do it. Add the Void to the mix, and maybe these new Avengers still have a shot? Do you agree or disagree with this? Which team do you like better? Let us know in the comments and remember to subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching CBR.